Well, hello and welcome everyone to Coffee Talk with Frank and Arthur. I am your esteemed host, Arthur DeStefano, and of course I'm with the incomparable, the enchanting, the all that, and bag of chips with dip. Frank DeStefano, also known as my father. Hold on one second, folks. We got a helicopter going up. Why can't we just have a normal show, Dad? Anyways, Dad, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So, today is a very special day. Today is Mother's Day. And Dad wanted to do a program about celebrating mothers, godly mothers. And what would you like to say about that, Dad, since you wanted to do a Mother's Day special?
I like to say, this doesn't only go for the Mother's Day. This is for the fathers that are raising their children that don't have a mother. So it's for you to appreciate everything you're doing for your child. And you're always in my heart because you are taking care of your children, no matter if you're a man or woman.
Oh,
so I appreciate that.
And with that, we can say that about grandparents.
Yes.
And,
and they're the one really raising them now.
So we just got done going to church, to the church assemblies, and Dad, why don't you tell them all about it while we're live while I go tell my dog Jack to shut up. Go ahead, Dad.
You don't say that in front of a talk.
Oh, sorry.
Well, he will be right back. So.
Okay, hey, I'm back. One day we will have a live program where everyone will be quiet.
That used to be downstairs.
That used to be downstairs. But now we are outside where noises are everywhere. But today we are celebrating mothers. And we had a wonderful time at church today with the church family. And Dad, why is it important to have godly mothers in our life? Mothers that, teach you about the Bible and things.
That's it. They're going to teach you the Bible, the right things you could do, and the right things that's going to make you mature to have learned. Because everything's going to be a test. And if you don't get the right words in as a child, you're going to go into an aisle lane that you don't want to be in. Because you're falling apart and you're going to another road and it's not God's way. Just because your friends don't want to do it or your girlfriend don't want to do it, you have to be with God. And if that's it, either you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to torment. So just stay with God and read about Him. And if you don't understand, ask somebody that's a Christian. And they'll help, more helper to help you.
Since it is Mother's Day, Dad, and you wanted to celebrate mothers, let's talk about Mom, Frances.
Don't.
What is it about, which would be my mom, what did she do that you saw that made you realize that she was such a remarkable woman? As we celebrate and honor Frances Marie DeStefano as well.
We weren't really planned. I think that was just God's wisdom to put us together, because I was not at all going to get married or do anything. So the day just came to that day where I met her and we got along, and I just started falling in love with her for day one. And she was the one that says, we're holding on. The reins here. So that was how we met, because she was not get-go like do-do-do-do. So when we did go out on a date, we started understanding each other. We took everything on the table and we said everything that was negative about us and just made the other person know this is what you're getting.
Right, this is my baggage.
And if
you can accept it,
you take it. If we don't, then we don't get to go on a date, but she did date. And we stayed married 25 years.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
and she was a great mother.
yes.
I mean, I can't say that because she had you and she raised you the way she
definitely
could.
was a terrific mother. I can say that she taught me about self-reliance, to stand up for myself. She would give the very clothes off her back to help someone. Big heart. But when push came to shove, you don't mess with her.
No.
She truly believed in the Bible, and she truly believed that that when you are in the wrong, you should be corrected. Because my mom had no problem with discipline. It was not, and she didn't do child abuse or anything like that. Because mom was never like that. But when you live under her roof, you go by the rules. And Dad, same thing with you too. Like, you are pretty strict on the handle. Like, I know your favorite Bible verses are, spare the rod, spoil the child.
And the other one?
Oh, honor thy father and the mother in the ways of the Lord.
Thank you.
He loves all those Bible verses when it comes to rearing the children.
No, I don't. I'm just teaching you. And
yeah.
I think your life was a good life. Unfortunately, mine wasn't a good life with my mother. So,
right, you didn't have the best experience
with it. But my mother was not a mother. That's all I could say. I mean, she provided me with things I needed, but she would also...
Now, this was your stepmother. Now, let's talk about, from what you do know from your biological mother. You said she was a beautiful woman.
Yes, she was a beautiful woman.
You knew her when you were 4, and then, of course, sadly, you moved to the States.
No, she moved me...
Oh, go ahead.
...into a protection area when I was probably 2.
Yeah.
And I stayed there, went there to 3, and then 4th I was already being adopted. So that 1 year I had to stay where I was because of all the paperwork.
Oh, yes, to adopt a child. But what do you remember about her?
I remember she gave me the world when I was with her. She took me for walks and Rome, the fountains, the churches, seeing how people live. Like, she showed me how they hang their clothes on the long wire to the other side of the apartment.
The other window, yeah.
Yeah, and so you picked hours and they would show me. And she showed me homemade food, how to cook pasta, how to everything, because they were poor. My mother wasn't as poor, but the village was poor. So she gave every morning. She got out the door, and she had bread made that she made,
homemade bread,
and she would give it to people that didn't have so much wealth.
So she was a really kind lady.
Yes, and she gave it to the church. If she had leftovers, she would just give it to them. And because she never thought of herself. She always thought of others. I don't remember my father.
Right.
But there had to be a reason why she left me there. And the thing I had the problem with. Why? But now I'm thinking, here, when I came here, my father said, "You're my son." And I truly believe that is my father.
Right.
That's here. And that's why I never met him, because he was here.
Right.
So the war was done, and he lived here, and I could never see him.
Yeah.
So I'm not blaming that, but my mother just did not like me.
Your stepmother.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody to get confused. Now let's talk about women in our life that are like motherly like figures. Because, some women are unable to have children, which is sad. Also, it could be there are some women in our life that are like a mother to us in a way. Was there any motherly figures in your life that helped you along the way?
No,
Boy,
I
that
had
was
to learn off
depressing.
the streets.
Well, what about your one aunt that taught you?
Yeah, but
some
she
things?
became a viper at the end too.
Oh,
See, because when I grew up, she would listen to me and everything. I love me, love me, love me. But they always says, "Oh, you're rich. Go to your rich." And then when I went to the poor, oh no, the poor said, "Go to your rich,"
and
the
vice
rich
versa.
Go to your humble people. And I was like, who do I decide? You know, because I'm nobody's favorite. So I started saying, this is not my family.
Right.
And so I wanted to leave that
Right,
situation.
but if you don't feel like you belong.
And they thought just to go Sunday to church was their blessing, and they could do it the rest of the week.
So they wore their
wanted.
Sunday best on Sunday, and then the rest of the week you do what you want.
Diamonds all galore, jewelry that must have taken them 3 days to put
Right.
on. And that wasn't church.
No.
That's just showing people.
That's not what Christians are about.
Right. And it was bad for me. And they would dress me up. I'm like, stop doing that. I'm not fake.
Yeah.
On myself. And when I came here, I had a gray suit, a little gray suit, and little gray pants.
Oh.
And that was where I would have been. But my adopted mother decides to give my clothes to her niece, and that was the only memory I would have had. So that shows you how mean this woman could have been.
Right. Already giving up your clothes, and you just got
That's
here.
the only thing. How about if I wouldn't give it to somebody else that I knew?
That's true.
You know. So
All right. Let's leave the bad mothers behind.
the good ones are Linda.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about... Today we honored the ladies of the church. The Church of Christ at Ranson. The ladies of the church. So, let's talk about them. Let's talk about Linda McDonald, who is our preacher's wife. What about Linda that makes her such a special person to you?
She's a listener. She's not a judgmental person.
It's true.
When you're not there, she's very sad. She'll give whatever she could
Very
give.
kind-hearted.
Very kind-hearted.
Yes.
And she's very humble.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I see her, I'm actually feeling safe. Because I never had that. So it took me a while to say, is there even a mother that would love me? And she was the one that I would love to have a mother.
Yeah.
So
I see what you mean. I noticed that when you're there and Linda's there, you feel happier. Linda makes the place feel warm.
right.
She is that motherly figure that many of us would want.
See, I would have
and
never.
she is a blessing.
I would have never gave my mother a flower, but I gave Linda a flower.
Yes.
And it was a fresh one,
Mm-hmm.
and it was from my heart, and she loved it. My mother would have probably thrown it in the trash.
Because it meant nothing
No.
to her. But for Linda, she treasured that.
Yeah.
See, it's those little things. Like, somebody does not have to be your physical mother, but they can still show the characteristics
That's
of being motherly. And so, what about Sister Linda Bain? What
She's
about
another
her?
one. She's a good teacher. She
She's a
teaches
good
me
coach.
that I don't know.
Mhm.
She'll teach me.
Yeah.
She had things in her life that were hard,
Mhm.
and she still puts a smile face on, and she
Mhm.
still keeps going.
She does.
And she was a good mother too. Michelle, she was another one. She was a great figure.
A dear friend of yours.
Right, she's a dear friend,
Dear friend.
but and she went through
A lot.
battle.
Yes.
And she's still going through a lot of it, but she still loves the church,
Mm-hmm.
and she still thinks of us all the time and loves us, and we could be there for her, because at the times of trouble, we have to be there.
I think that a lot of times, I believe I mentioned it today, that in the prayer of where we think about mothers on Mother's Day, which is good, but it should be year long. I mean, like, because I remember even during Christmas time, our family we wouldn't wait till Christmas to get each other something, like a gift or something. This was an all the time thing. Because if you love your family, you'll help them and you'll be with them, and you'll get them little gifts and stuff because you know it makes them happy. Not that you can buy happiness, because you really cannot. You can't buy someone's love. But you're showing your love to them in one way. So, Dad, how are you? How are you doing, though? Because I don't think our listeners know about what's going on with you, as like updates and things, because we haven't been on in a while.
Well, I mean, I'm sad. Because it is Mother's Day, and I don't find it a joyful Mother's Day. I find it horrific that the abuse I had. So,
yeah.
But I still loved her, and I still pray for her, and I had to forgive her because that's God's will.
And he's referring to his stepmother, just
Yes.
so everyone understands.
Now, my real mother. We really didn't have a Mother's Day. Well, I was 3 years old.
Yeah, you
But
didn't
we
have a lot
it,
of time with
But
her.
she would do cute things to, like, I was never left out.
Yeah.
So what she got, I had to have.
You know, and you didn't have a lot of time with her. About 3 or 4 years, and that's it.
I was born, yeah, she had me. 2, she had me. Still, I had 2 years. The third one, I was already going into my protection, and the fourth, I was taken from protection and came here.
Yeah.
So,
It's hard.
yeah, it is, because I wanted my real mother.
Yeah.
And I've been looking through the things, and the more I look at the things, more characteristics showed what my mother would have been. And it's like Sophie Loren. And it's really amazing. And from a loving person to a monster that I had here. And not that I would love Sophie Loren as my mother. She was a beautiful woman.
Yes, she was.
And I mean...
You know, I know you didn't have a good experience with your stepmother. I know that. But then you start thinking about the ladies that God has put in your life, from Frances to the ladies of the church, and at times, Grandma Florence, because you all did get along pretty well near the end. But you were always there for her.
Right. I was angry with her.
You still were
when
there.
she had problems, I still helped her.
There.
And the one she thought
would be there was
not. So you have to watch your stones.
You know, here's another thing for people out there that may have lost a mother. If you have nothing else to thank them for, just thank them for life.
Well, be grateful for what they have given
you. Well, and I'm thinking about people that may have had a bad experience, like, because not everybody is fit to be a mother. Not everyone.
Well, no, absolutely not. I see that around here, so.
You know, when I think of a mother, I think of someone that is nurturing, yet, you know, will discipline when need to be, but that you can go to and talk about things, and that she's there to support you.
Yeah, if you're cussing at a kid, your son at 4 years old, you're not a fit parent at all.
No, because
that's how they're going to be taught, and that's how they're going to do for their girlfriends when they get married. It's just going to go down the generation, down generation.
Because children are a sponge, and they soak up everything that is around them, and, you know.
So if they like to read with them, and let them understand what they're reading.
I think also as Christians, though, I'm not a parent, you are, but I think it's important that parents do pray with their children, to teach them to pray.
I really didn't do that with one of my kids.
Yeah.
But I made sure they had food on the table.
Well, yeah.
And anything they had to say, say it to me. Don't let me find out another way. I was
Right. Just tell me.
I mean, we'll handle it from there. So, at the table, we never talked anything negative. I told him, no negative. It has to be something you did in school today, joyful, or you picked a rock up and you brought it home, or whatever. But I did not want to hear, this kid beat me up. I don't want, because he knew I was going to go. I would be the one that goes to jail.
Well, because you go into Papa Bear mode.
Yes, so. But I think parents have to understand, even like if your husband dies, you could get celebrated for Father's Day and Mother's Day. You're taking care of two people that your child's trying to learn, because he's not with the father no more, and he can't tell personal stuff to the mother because they hit the age where they need a father.
Well, to be honest, I agree with you on some things where it's hard for... Mom was a single mom before you came into her life later on. And it's hard, though, on a single parent. Yes. Because they literally have to be the mother and the father. They have to work to make sure that the child is fed and has a home over them and clothes on their back. And I think it's a disgrace when I hear some people that when your parent has given everything they have and you still badmouth them and put them down. They did the best that they could. Now, I'm not saying that all parents always have their best interest at heart for their child. But I can say about my mother...
You have to quiet.
Hold on.
Just pause it.
I can't... I can say for my mother that she did the very best that she could, and it'd be wrong. Don't you agree? Would it not be wrong if your parent did the very best that they could to hold something negative over them just to make them feel bad?
Yes.
Do you have any closing things you would like to say, Dad, as it maybe a thank you to some people, or as advice to mothers out there?
All I could say is Happy Mother's Day. Stay strong. Prove that you're better than what they're saying. And that's all I could say.
We thank you, everyone that has been tuning in. And we want to send a special thank you to the ladies of the Church of Christ at Ranson. Each of you are very special to us, and we love you all. God bless you, and we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk.